It's 2014. The crickets are chirping outside, the sun's going down, and you sit down in your living room to grind out your single-player Minecraft world. You play, admiring your base, going into the mines when out of the corner of your eye you see a Steve skin with glowing white eyes, only watching. Your skin starts to crawl, your throat tightens, you blink, and he's gone. The only evidence being the goosebumps left on your skin. The concept of horror within video game media has been a trend since the internet has existed. Dubbed creepypasta in the earlier days, these consisted of short horror stories, with the most memorable ones being Sonic.exe, Mario 85, NES Godzilla, and probably the most recognizable one, Herobrine. There's been plenty of videos from the 2010s over him since his original photo debut, each one harnessing a different take on him. In some videos, he's a misunderstood creature just wanting to be freed from an eternal hell. In some, he's a vengeful spirit, and in some, just a chaotic force that stalks his prey. All these videos would harness millions upon millions of views, with different web series being made obsessing over him. Some stories were fictional, some were hunts, some were animating him as a monster school teacher. 2014 was a weird time. Herobrine's story later evolved to where he had a counterpart named Entity 303. Then there was the creation of Null as an entity. Then there were the Dweller mods, followed by the Broken Script and NoMoon.jar mods. This of course doesn't include the different ARG channels, along with the different creators that create ARG documentaries dissecting those videos. They dominate today's Minecraft algorithm, currently to the point where Minecraft content creator Whippies was featured on Minecraft Live teasing the sequel to one of his documentaries. How do we get here? It's impossible to talk about ARGs on YouTube without talking about the godfather of them all, Marble Hornets. I know this channel isn't Minecraft related, but bear with me. Marble Hornets was created off the inspiration of the Slender Man in his fan-made game. It follows a character named Jay. Jay was given tapes of a film named Marble Hornets by his friend Alex, being told to bury the tapes and never speak of them again. Jay obviously doesn't listen to this and tries to uncover the secret behind Marble Hornets. In a time where horror was defined by jump scares and gore, what made this web series different compared to others was that it used effects instead of gore and jump scares. Sure, there's some jump scares, but what Marble Hornets did differently compared to most found footage is how they use the viewer's emotion. In most horror, there's the expectation when the music goes silent or crescendos, you're probably going to get jump scared. This commonly happens with a scene of the creature's perspective, or some view of them before they jump scare the audience and pounce. Marble Hornets, however, mixes this up. You get to see the monster, but very rarely are you jump scared. Often, you are left alone with the main character experiencing camera glitches, listening to his surroundings, and just sometimes, whether it's at the corner of the screen or in your face, you see the monster just for a brief moment. What made Marble Hornets so successful was the weaponization of fear. Psychoanalysis theory states that the idea of death and fear excites us. The perceived consequences of being caught by this entity, or failing their task, is what excites us to continue watching. This plays into the idea further of the human need for control. We love control. Humans are naturally predatory animals, and being hunted changes this invisible control dynamic. What makes this horrifying for us as the viewer is that we know the monster is there, but not where it is. We don't know when something is going to pop out at us, and often we put ourselves in the protagonist's shoes. Very rarely do you cheer for the monster in horror. We don't want the protagonist or the characters to die, but the idea of consequences is what fascinates the human mind. Going back to Minecraft, the rise of ARGs is almost directly tied to the single-player world. You start a world, punch a tree, craft a pickaxe, mine stone, build a house, then what? There's no one else in the world, and yet there's always this lingering feeling of isolation, and if you play long enough, a feeling that you might not truly be alone. Plenty of sightings are reported all the time of this phenomenon, figures in single-player worlds, unnatural generations that the player didn't create. This is not unique to Minecraft. What makes this interesting is that Minecraft is typically regarded as a kid's game, only being rated E10, and there wasn't any horror aspects before 1.19 was released. So why horror now? The first true Minecraft ARG series would arguably either belong to Rejected Shotgun or Along Came Josh, which came out in 2012 and 2014 respectively. The Haunting came out in 2012 and followed two friends named Drake and Armin who record nights of being haunted by Herobrine inside their in-game home. Along Came Josh's 2014 series followed a character named Josh around his single-player world that was haunted by Herobrine. What made these series stand out at the time was the usage of effects and storytelling used in videos. Story's definition of popular culture states that popular culture comes from the people. Mojang as a whole have never been involved in the creation of these ARGs. While Notch had removed Herobrine as a running gag after the first initial sighting, almost every ARG or anomaly, whether it's classic Herobrine or the ones that have come after, came directly from the community. The usage of ARG horror in Minecraft has entirely shifted from primary sources to secondary sources. Styled similarly to documentaries, these channels such as Whippies or Render watch through or create these web series, dissecting their hidden messages and telling their story. For example, TikTok user Minecraft Xbox 360 Stuff, covered by YouTuber Render, focuses on the story of a teenager who opens an old Minecraft world that they used to play with their siblings on for nostalgia, not realizing what entity lurked inside. This entity toys with him, forcing him to relive parts of his brother's past, building replicas of his past, and slowly morphs. It can exit his game, see him in the real world, and sometimes it purposely shows itself, becoming more distorted each time. What makes this ARG interesting is the use of photos instead of footage. Every time we see the entity is through photographs, whether it's at the corner of the screen or right up in your face, the entity is hidden by darkness. Not every dark image contains Cave Steve, but after encountering him in a few images, your brain naturally searches for any anomalies. You also feel the real world consequences that this has for the player, as the story ties into their real life, and the player's fate is ultimately left up to the viewer at the end with an eerie update. In another ARG created by Zacko Builds, you follow Zach, who is given video files by a random Discord user telling him how his friend went MIA and ask him to dissect the information. During this ARG, you slowly learn that this haunted world knows exactly who the protagonist is, addressing him by his real life name and showing him information that only he could know, even going as far as knowing his exact bedroom layout. So why are these series so popular? What components drive us to continue watching them? From a semiotic standpoint, it's easy to put us as the viewer into the shoes of the protagonist. From Render to Zacko Builds, Wiffies, or any other ARG creator, almost never is the protagonist some extraordinary person or superpowered individual. They are just simply a human who lack vocals. They vary in age, skill level, and general knowledge, but they all have human curiosity in common. It's what pilot all these episodes, even though they know the haunted world or entity wants nothing more than madness or death for them. Curiosity, like us as the viewer, draws them back in for another episode after episode. This is in drastic comparison to the entity or anomaly, who are almost always superpowered or paranormal in some way, shape, or form. Though their intentions are always different, they're either all-seeing or just superpowered outside of what's possible in the base game, adding new features or blocks or dimensions. What all these entities have in common, though, is that they almost never have the protagonist's best interest in mind. Some of them absorb souls for unknown reason, they drive players into madness simply for the love of the game. Then there's the semiotics of what we desire for the protagonist. As said earlier, very rarely do we cheer for the monster. We know that our protagonist isn't us, that we have very little control over their personalities, flaws, or features, but we desire for them to live or be safe. We want them to come out unharmed. This is in difference to what endings typically offer, as the protagonist is either sucked into an endless cycle, killed off, or suffers a fate worse than death. When the protagonist survives, often they carry some sort of mental burden out from the ARG, caused out of curiosity or simply being in the wrong place at the wrong time.